The High Performance Transportation Enterprise Board, which sets toll rates on Colorado highways and probably named for the easiest to say of all the agencies in Colorado, decided this week that more public input is needed on proposed toll rates for US 36. The new rates could go as high as $14 for a car without an express pass at peak times, which would be twice as much as it is in I-25. Eric, the rates were proposed, and then we saw a little bit of uproar, and then the board said, well, wait, maybe we need some more public input, or need to wait some time. People can decide what that means. But do you think eventually US 36 drivers, again, without the express pass at peak times, are going to be paying $14 to use those lanes?
Well, I don't know if it's going to be $14, but it's going to be a substantial, significant amount of money, and over time, rates never go down, and even if they start at, even if they're dialed back somewhat and start at in the $11 or $12 range, it won't be too many years before you see 14 or 17 or 18. I think it's the ultimate test of how much is 15 minutes worth to you. And it's the ultimate test also of supply and demand, as those rates can fluctuate as times of day or as people decide whether or not they want to go in that high occupancy lane. But I remember flashing back 15 or more years ago when these lanes and this kind of system of traffic management was first proposed. They were dubbed Lexus lanes. And they're probably Lexus lanes for a reason. As you start, it's no longer costing you pennies or dimes or quarters, but it's starting to be money that over the course of a week or a month or a year really adds up.
Susan, should Boulder be angry about this?
Absolutely. I think everybody should be angry about it. The supporters of this liken it to other things that people pay for by use. For example, cable TV or cell phones. And roads aren't like those things. You need access to roads to get to your job. You need them to take your kid to school. You might need them to get to the hospital. And this just is a slippery slope for icing people out of getting to where they need to get because they can't afford it. And it's Boulder, right? So I think that's kind of the unspoken thing. Well, Boulder can afford it, but there are students on that road. There are, it's in some ways this kind of, it's a Lexus lane, and these people on this, what is this committee called? Because I love the name of this so much.
It is the High Performance Transportation Enterprise Board.
I think those people on the Enterprise Board are going to get an earful in the next couple of weeks. Yeah.
Betty, I get the idea of a toll road and that you only have to pay it if you want it. It's not a mandatory charge, but should it be twice as expensive as I-25?
Well, because I-25 is such a joy to drive up during traffic, too. This is coming on the heels of an earlier insult, which is that light rail has become bus rail to Boulder. So that here's Boulder, that already that option is gone for them. They can get on buses if they want, and now they can pay $14 if they want, or they can just poke along at 3 miles an hour, whatever it's going to be. I think we're going to see a lot of protest over this. I think we're going to see continued scrutiny and calls for transparency on both the I-36 deal and now any proposals for I-70, since they're talking about a public-private partnership, and people are really going to want to see the details of that.
David, you're our Boulderite on the panel. The floor is yours.
I drive 36 every day. Susan's right, of course, that roads like parks or public schools are a general thing for the public and an appropriate thing for the government to provide out of general tax revenue. The fact is the people of Colorado who have the choice about raising their taxes clearly do not want to raise taxes for more road building. There isn't going to be no improvement at all on 36 if you ask for it out of general tax revenue. The money ain't there, and there is no appetite for a tax increase. And I don't think it's actually, and I think it's reasonable to say people in Durango and Grand Junction and Rifle and Trinidad shouldn't have their taxes raised to pay for people on 36. This project is not in any way reducing what people can do for free on 36. You've got still 2 lanes in each direction. In fact, it's improved by the addition of a separate bike lane, which is important for some people in Boulder, like I'm not a Bico nut, but I would appreciate it. And Boulder certainly has lots of Bico nuts who would use it all the time. Also is usable as a pedestrian path. A center lane in both, 2 lanes in both directions for buses, which means people who take the very heavily subsidized RTD, which is paid for by lots of other people who never take the bus, those people getting their subsidized rides on RTD are going to zip through with no traffic jam. Huge improvement there. If you want to opt out of the regular free traffic lane, then this whole thing gets paid for by the people who choose to opt in and pay a toll. That's where all the money comes from, and that people will decide what it's worthwhile to them. Yeah, if you're going to spend $7 each way, then you have money to burn if you're going to do that every single day. But there's lots of times when people choose to do it. You're late for a business meeting. Yeah, you definitely want to spend $7 maybe going down and save that 15 minutes in traffic. And on the way back, maybe you don't mind waiting. Or you're picking up your kid from daycare. There's lots of reasons why people can choose to pay this optional fee, which supports all the improvements on 36, which benefit everyone.